The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, November 27, reveal that Jack Abbott will have a big surprise in store for his family as they prepare to celebrate Thanksgiving. When Diane Jenkins Abbott appears in the living room, Ashley Abbott will immediately question her presence and offer to throw her out. Tracy Abbott and Alan Laurent will also be rather confused about why Diane's there. Jack will have to explain that he's still madly in love with Diane and that all the recent hostility was a ruse. Diane will help Jack explain that they were just deceiving Victor Newman and working to get Kyle Abbott out of his clutches. While Tracy, Ashley, and Alan wrap their heads around that revelation, Victor will gather with many of his loved ones at the Newman Ranch. Claire Newman will be in attendance, so Victor will take this opportunity to deliver a warning about Kyle. Although Victor will try to set off some alarm bells about Kyle and the heartbreak that could be brewing for Claire, she may ignore her grandpa's opinion in the end. Claire is all about making decisions for herself these days, so she may continue down her current romantic path, at least for now. Cole Howard, Victoria Newman, Nick Newman, Adam Newman, Chelsea Lawson, and Connor Newman will also show up for the Newman Thanksgiving celebration. Adam will enjoy having some family time with Connor and Chelsea, so this could mark a turning point when it comes to his romantic relationship with Chelsea too. Chelsea and Adam will definitely have some moments where it seems like they're reconnecting. Next on Wednesday's I&R episode, Nate Hastings will invite Amy Lewis to stay with him for Thanksgiving, so she'll seek updates on whether he's made a final decision about locating his half-brother Damien. When Audra Charles arrives, she may continue to show signs of wariness regarding Amy and her motives. Audra always has her guard up, so she's been hesitant to trust Amy and her wild story. However, Amy's claims about her illness and her son seem legit, so Nate may be willing to take the leap and help find Damien. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate's half-brother will bring a whole lot of drama to Geno City down the road, so we'll bring you more predictions on all the chaotic news ahead. It's where you want to be for sizzling Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so make us your favorite Y and our hotspot. Hey everyone, welcome back to Radiant Serum. I'm Aubrey, and I hope your day is shining bright. Thank you for joining me. Let's jump right into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, November 27, reveal that Jack Abbott will have a big surprise in store for his family as they prepare to celebrate Thanksgiving. When Diane Jenkins Abbott appears in the living room, Ashley Abbott will immediately question her presence and offer to throw her out. Tracy Abbott and Alan Laurent will also be rather confused about why Diane's there. Jack will have to explain that he's still madly in love with Diane and that all the recent hostility was a ruse. Diane will help Jack explain that they were just deceiving Victor Newman and working to get Kyle Abbott out of his clutches. While Tracy, Ashley, and Alan wrap their heads around that revelation, Victor will gather with many of his loved ones at the Newman Ranch. Claire Newman will be in attendance, so Victor will take this opportunity to deliver a warning about Kyle. Although Victor will try to set off some alarm bells about Kyle and the heartbreak that could be brewing for Claire, she may ignore her grandpa's opinion in the end. Claire is all about making decisions for herself these days, so she may continue down her current romantic path, at least for now. Cole Howard, Victoria Newman, Nick Newman, Adam Newman, Chelsea Lawson, and Connor Newman will also show up for the Newman Thanksgiving celebration. Adam will enjoy having some family time with Connor and Chelsea, so this could mark a turning point when it comes to his romantic relationship with Chelsea too. Chelsea and Adam will definitely have some moments where it seems like they're reconnecting. Next on Wednesday's I&R episode, Nate Hastings will invite Amy Lewis to stay with him for Thanksgiving, so she'll seek updates on whether he's made a final decision about locating his half-brother Damien. When Audra Charles arrives, she may continue to show signs of wariness regarding Amy and her motives. Audra always has her guard up, so she's been hesitant to trust Amy and her wild story. However, Amy's claims about her illness and her son seem legit, so Nate may be willing to take the leap and help find Damien. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate's half-brother will bring a whole lot of drama to Genoa City down the road, so we'll bring you more predictions on all the chaotic news ahead. Is where you want to be for sizzling Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so make us your favorite Y and our hotspot. Guess who hasn't left Genoa City on Young and the Restless? The answer is Dead Cameron, and he's not going anywhere just yet. It seems he's leading Team Sharon since her confession and after being arrested for Heather Stevens' murder. Just as the other team members of Team Sharon recommend, Dead Cameron recommends that Sharon hope for time in Fairview rather than the Clink. Right now, Sharon doesn't even care and claims to be ready to take whatever sentence she receives, as she's a cold-blooded killer. However, both Team Sharon and Sharon believe she killed Heather Stevens. So what's next? Team Sharon team leader withholds the truth. Does Dead Cameron Kirsten know that Sharon Newman really did not kill Heather Stevens? Since Dead Cameron is run by Sharon's subconscious, he should know and Sharon should want to get the update. However, if he doesn't update Sharon, him driving her more and more crazy will be her only hope of not going to prison, or if she does a minimum period of time. Also, if Dead Cameron doesn't level with Sharon that she did not kill Heather Stevens, the rest of Team Sharon will continue to follow his leadership, and off to Fairview Sharon goes. See also Y and R spoilers. Kyle Abbott set to become Jabot co-CEO as Jack and Diane's marriage scheme unravels. Sharon proactively checks into Fairview for craft time. Sharon doesn't know she didn't kill Heather, but she does know she's freaking nuts and Dead Cameron is encouraging her to dig in. He thinks crocheting potholders at Fairview will be much more tolerable than any time in prison, and the only way to get there is to maximize the crazy. No one in Genoa City likes Fairview or wants to consider seeing the inside of that place ever again. However, unless another treatment facility cannot be found for Sharon, perhaps she best check in herself before her trial to be proactive to get well again. See also Young and the Restless spoilers. Jack, Billy, and Nikki called out for hypocritical behavior. In recent Young and the Restless history, Ashley Abbott was in a treatment facility in Paris. Chelsea Lawson was admitted to an unnamed facility in Genoa City when she was going through her mental health challenges, and her son Connor spent time in facilities in both Minneapolis and Baltimore for his OCD. Didn't Sharon want to take a trip to Sedona? Perhaps one of the Team Sharon team members can find a facility near there for her to check into. When the truth comes out, Team Sharon will advocate. Sharon didn't kill Heather, and there's buzz all over social media that she may have just conjured up dumping Heather in the river. Regardless, the woman is nuts and has been for a long time. She is dangerous to herself and those around her. She should not be driving a car, she should not be running 2 companies, and she should not be passing go, collecting $200, etc. Sharon Newman needs to be checked into a treatment facility and should have been months ago. It's unclear though, however, if Heather Stevens would still be alive if she had been checked in now with Aunt Jordan and Ian Ward out and about and up to no good. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, November 27, 2024, reveal an intense day in Genoa City as power struggles, fractured relationships, and hidden agendas collide. Victor Newman, a commanding force behind Chancellor Winters, Newman Enterprises, and Jabot, remains the central figure in the city's business and personal rivalries. Yet, despite his vast influence, Victor finds himself zeroing in on a singular, enduring challenge: Jack Abbott. Victor's calculated maneuvers. In his opulent office overlooking Genoa City, Victor Newman contemplates his long-standing rivalry with Jack Abbott. This battle of wits spans decades, with both men determined to outmaneuver the other. Victor's current strategy involves dismantling Jack's empire from within, and he sees an opportunity in recruiting Jack's brother, Billy Abbott, a man struggling with his place in the family and his ambitions. Billy's vulnerabilities make him an ideal pawn for Victor. With encouragement from Sally Spectra, who frames the alliance as a chance for Billy to reclaim his legacy, Victor's pitch grows more enticing. Yet, Billy wrestles with the implications of betraying his family, especially knowing the devastation it could bring to the Abbott name. Tension mounts in the Abbott family. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott observes the growing rift between Billy and their mother, Jill Abbott. Jill's past decisions, including firing Billy and restructuring Chancellor, left deep wounds. Jack attempts to mediate, calling for unity within the family to preserve their legacy. However, Jill and Billy's inability to move past their grievances threatens to widen the divide. Their clashes mirror the struggles of a younger generation of Abbotts, such as Kyle and Summer, whose fiery dispositions often escalate conflicts. Phyllis Summers' quest for justice. Phyllis Summers continues her relentless pursuit of justice, determined to expose the criminal elements lurking in Genoa City. Recovering from injuries sustained during her investigations, she faces the challenge of balancing her health with her mission. While her determination remains unshaken, Phyllis understands the need for patience and strategic planning as her enemies grow more dangerous. Love and manipulation. Amidst the family drama, Kyle Abbott and Claire Simpson navigate the pressures threatening their relationship. Claire's ties to the Abbott family make her a potential asset in Victor's schemes, and he issues a chilling warning to Kyle. His recklessness could have dire consequences for Claire. Meanwhile, Jordan Newman, ever the manipulator, tries to exploit Claire's position for her own gain, leaving Claire wary and protective of her bond with Kyle. Devon Hamilton's protective role. Devon Hamilton emerges as a stabilizing presence, observing the escalating chaos with growing concern. His protective instincts drive him to investigate Amy Lewis' actions alongside Audra, forming a formidable team to uncover the truth. Devon's cautious approach highlights his commitment to shielding his loved ones from the turmoil surrounding them. Victor's ultimatum. Victor escalates his efforts with an ultimatum for Billy: align with him completely or risk losing everything. This high-stakes proposition forces Billy to confront his deepest conflicts. The allure of power and a chance to redefine his role within Chancellor Winters are tantalizing, but the potential cost of his integrity and relationships weighs heavily. As tensions peak, Genoa City braces for the fallout of these intertwined dramas. With alliances shifting and secrets unraveling, the delicate balance of power teeters on the edge. Will Victor succeed in dismantling Jack's legacy? Can Billy navigate his loyalty to his family and his ambition? The stage is set for explosive confrontations and life-altering decisions in The Young and the Restless. In The Young and the Restless, tensions rise as Adam Newman confronts the reality of his strained connections and unfulfilled desires. The week begins with Adam stumbling upon a heart-stopping revelation: Billy and Sally's growing closeness has crossed into romantic territory. Witnessing their undeniable chemistry sends Adam into a tailspin, pulling him back into the darker aspects of his personality. Sharon's shocking confession. While Adam broods, Sharon Newman faces the consequences of her recent actions. After weeks of avoidance, Sharon breaks under pressure, admitting to planting evidence and causing the crash that left Phyllis Summers hospitalized. Her guilt-driven confession leaves Nick speechless, but it's not just her words that shock. Her insistence on accepting full responsibility adds to the chaos. Faith and Mariah walk in on this emotional storm, only to hear Nick voice Sharon's chilling admission. Nick, refusing to let Sharon face this alone, brings in Michael Baldwin to build a defense. Michael begins investigating whether Sharon's medication played a role in her erratic behavior. Meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti channels his rage, accusing Sharon of intentionally targeting Heather in a revenge-fueled spiral tied to Cassie's tragic death. Phyllis eventually wakes up, stirring new conflicts and intensifying the drama. Kyle's family drama. Over at the Abbott residence, Kyle reels from Jack and Diane's confession that their supposed marital discord was a staged maneuver to outwit Victor Newman and reclaim Kyle's loyalty. While Jack and Diane's scheme partially succeeds, it leaves Kyle questioning the trustworthiness of those closest to him. Diane and Jack offer him a co-CEO position at Jabot, hoping to mend fences, but the move feels like damage control rather than a genuine act of reconciliation. Billy hits rock bottom. Billy Abbott finds himself at his lowest. After losing his company to Victor, he seeks help from Jack, only to be stonewalled. Jack's refusal stems from long-term plans that don't yet involve Billy, deepening the rift between the brothers. As if personal setbacks weren't enough, Billy's burgeoning romance with Sally adds a layer of complexity. Sparks fly between them, though their connection threatens to ignite new rivalries and old resentments. Ian and Jordan's sinister plan. Ian, Ward, and Jordan amp up their campaign of terror against Sharon and her family. Ian's latest scheme targets Faith and Mariah, with Jordan playing the role of a manipulative spy. As Jordan embeds herself deeper into Sharon's world, questions arise. Will her deception be exposed, or will Ian's twisted agenda succeed in fracturing the Newman clan further? Thanksgiving drama unfolds. Amid the escalating chaos, Thanksgiving brings its own share of tension in Genoa City. The Abbott family's dinner turns explosive when Diane arrives uninvited, prompting Ashley to suggest showing her the door. Jack quickly defends Diane, revealing their fake marital woes were part of a strategy. Over at the Newmans, Victor and Nikki host their annual gathering, urging their family to unite, but underlying tensions remain. Adam's invitation to Chelsea leaves her wary, but Victor's hopes for reconciliation between her and Adam add intrigue to the festivities. As secrets unravel and alliances shift, the Young and the Restless promises a week filled with heartbreak, unexpected alliances, and dark turns. Adam's downward spiral, Sharon's guilt, and the Abbott family's fractured dynamics are set to keep viewers on edge. Will Adam confront his feelings for Sally, or will his bitterness consume him? Can Sharon regain her footing, or will her past mistakes define her future? And as Genoa City's families gather around the Thanksgiving table, who will emerge stronger, and who will be left picking up the pieces? Stay tuned for answers to these burning questions. A lot of times watching The Young and the Restless, we roll our eyes at how self-centered Phyllis is, but not during the November 25 episode. As she expressed her shock, her horror, her hurt over BFM Michael defending Sharon, Aka, the driver she's sure almost made her roadkill, we were 100% in her corner. Michael's insistence that he had to take Sharon's case made zero sense. He defends people, that's his job, that was his excuse. But there was no reason in the world why he had to take this case. Genoa City has other attorneys who are not longtime friends of the victims. Pristine could have represented Sharon, or Brittany, or hell, pulled John Silva out of mothballs. Michael claimed that, as a lawyer, he is governed by a strict body of rules. But none of those rules require him to take every damn case that he's offered. He's not a public defender who is obliged to go courting with any old client. Whether a jaywalker or a serial killer, he's a fancy-pants private attorney who can say yes or no he pleases. So when Phyllis called Michael taking on Sharon as a client a betrayal, it wasn't an exaggeration. We'd have been apoplectic and wounded to the core too. Michael himself has proven in the past that he can turn down cases. In fact, when Phyllis needed defending after she killed Jeremy Stark, he turned her down as he was busy bailing out Mom Gloria overseas. To add insult to injury, Michael offered up as a replacement lawyer, of all people, Heather, whose father Phyllis had nearly murdered when she deliberately ran down him and Christine with her car in the 1990s. Look, we love conflict. We love drama. That's why we watch soaps. But when it makes as little sense as Michael's backstab of Phyllis, and that is what this is, our reaction isn't excitement or engagement, it's frustration and disappointment. Do better, Young and Restless. Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Phyllis relives horrific memories of the night of the accident. The Young and the Restless is known for its nuanced and complex characters, and Phyllis will face an intense internal struggle as she begins to recall the car crash that landed her in the hospital. In hazy moments, blurred memories start coming into focus, setting off a terrifying chain of events that leaves her unable to rest. The first image in Phyllis's memory is a series of text messages, simple yet unsettling. She initially assumes they're from Sharon Newman, a friend she once shared a close relationship with. However, her suspicions grow as she realizes something is wrong. These messages are more than a nuisance. They're a warning, a chilling reminder that someone might be watching her. Phyllis's memory then shifts to the tragic moment of the accident. She recalls Sharon's car coming toward her, only for another car to suddenly appear from behind and plow straight into hers. In that instant, she had no choice but to swerve hard. Tragically, her car spun out of control, crashing into a tree and causing her to faint. This memory doesn't just bring physical pain, it stirs up mental anguish, rekindling her fears and feelings of being threatened. The flashbacks continue, bringing vague but troubling details about Jordan and Cameron. Phyllis remembers seeing the two characters in the other car, their aggressive gestures and malicious eyes raising doubts in her mind. How could this have been a coincidence? Were they the ones who intentionally targeted her? These questions leave Phyllis bewildered and force her to confront a painful possibility. Was the accident part of a larger, sinister plan? As the memories resurface, Phyllis grows increasingly unstable, consumed by panic and uncertainty. She starts to question everything, including her initial suspicion that Sharon was behind the crash. Could Sharon be innocent after all? The mysterious text messages, her hazy memories, and the presence of Jordan and Cameron hint at a deeper conspiracy. Phyllis feels more alone and confused than ever, grappling with whether she can trust anyone around her. Now the biggest question looms. Can Phyllis find the courage to face the truth? Will she reveal what she remembers, knowing it could completely alter everyone's perception of the accident and those involved? Or will she keep these memories to herself, sparing others but living in insecurity and doubt? These flashbacks mark the beginning of a tense search for the truth and an important milestone in Phyllis's journey. As she confronts unresolved secrets, she must also work to overcome her fears and confusion in pursuit of inner peace. Phyllis stands at a crossroads. She can choose to remain silent, avoiding chaos, but continuing to live in fear and uncertainty. Or she can confront those she suspects, risking everything, even her safety. Does Phyllis have the strength to share what she's remembered? If the truth about Jordan and Cameron comes to light, it could unleash a chain of unforeseen consequences, shaking up the lives of everyone involved, especially Sharon. Phyllis's struggle between fear and courage is not just about the accident, but also a deeper inner conflict. Her journey is one of growth and self-discovery. To find the truth, she must confront her darkest fears, seek answers, and reconcile her past. Will Phyllis find light amid the darkness, or will doubt and fear consume her? As her sense of unease deepens, Phyllis starts to feel guilty for blaming Sharon. But if Sharon isn't the culprit, who is? Did Jordan and Cameron conspire to frame her? Or is there another force lurking behind the chaos? Stay tuned to uncover the truth as Phyllis's haunting memories pave the way for a new chapter in her life. Sharon said a big ol' sayonara that was long overdue on the most recent episode of Young and Restless. At least, that's how many fans will feel about it. As much as we absolutely loved Lyndon Ashby's intensity as the perpetually bloodied Cameron Kirsten that took up residence in Sharon's mind, it was time for him to pack up his tattered shirt and head to that big laundromat in the sky. The duo wreaked a metric ton of havoc, as we were treated to one of the most unlikely partnership we've seen on soaps, and one of the most brilliant combinations of actors we can think of over the past months. Cameron egged Sharon on to take her revenge on Daniel for his role in Cassie's death by poisoning his whiskey. But when her conscience battled back and landed her in a tense situation with his lady love, and Heather ended up dead instead, Sharon's red-faced helpy Helperton talked her into a full-fledged cover-up that included dumping Paul Williams' daughter's body in the river. When the body was found soon afterward, it was Sharon's literal and figurative backseat driver, Cameron, who convinced her it was a grand idea to frame Daniel for the murder of the woman he loved. Even after everything fell apart and Sharon confessed, the Energizer Bunny of hallucinations kept showing up. But his recent visit to Sharon at Crimson Lights appeared to be his last. Sharon declared that she was stronger and didn't need Cameron anymore. She was saying goodbye for good, forever. With that, she squeezed her eyes shut tight, and when she reopened them, Kirsten had gone poof. It felt different, more final than previous times that she's dismissed the devil on her shoulder. As we all understand by now, the hallucination was a part of her own mind, and not actually the deceased Cameron Kirsten. Regardless of what form his alter ego took, we'll miss Ashby and Case riffing off of one another in scenes. We hope, however, never to see that godawful bloodstained shirt ever again. Desperate times, desperate measures. Cameron assured Sharon that he'd leave Faith unharmed if only the girl's mother would run away with him. Seeing no choice, Sharon agreed. But before her stalker could get the hell out of Dodge with his prize, Nick threw down with the do-no-gooder, who nonetheless managed to escape through, a hole he dug all the way into the couple's son-knows closet. You da bomb. In the end, Cameron thought that the way to Sharon's heart was through threatening to blow up Faith. Needless to say, that didn't work. Finally, he was fatally stabbed during a life-or-death struggle with Sharon, mostly death in his case. Not another chain letter. Even after Cameron was 6 feet under, he refused to be forgotten. In fact, he ensured that Sharon would be forced to think of him every day by leaving her in charge of Kirsten Incorporated. Could a merger with Crimson Lights have been far behind? The name game. Sharon's first order of business was to rebrand Kirsten Incorporated as Cassidy First Technology. And her second? She decided to stop taking her bipolar medication, which led directly to bloody hell. Sharon didn't altogether hate it when she started having visions in which she made out with Nick. But Cameron's reappearance in her psyche was another matter altogether. He couldn't even be bothered to change his shit. In Genoa City, explosive revelations and simmering tensions come to a head in The Young and the Restless. As Thanksgiving approaches and Kyle's budding romance, leaving heartbreak and turmoil in its wake. The drama unfolds amid a backdrop of personal confessions, fiery confrontations, and life-altering choices for Genoa City's residents. Claire and Kyle's romance faces Victor's wrath. Victor Newman sits Claire down for a serious conversation about her growing relationship with Kyle Abbott. While Claire is excited about their connection, Victor isn't convinced of its viability. He warns her of inevitable heartbreak, suggesting that Kyle's past with Summer Newman will likely reignite, leaving Claire caught in the crossfire. Victor paints a grim picture of Claire watching Kyle, Summer, and Harrison reunite as a family, urging her to reconsider her path before devastation strikes. Claire, though visibly shaken, remains conflicted, unsure if she should heed Victor's advice or follow her heart. Jack and Diane's confession changes the game. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins drop a bombshell of their own. They confess to faking hostility to protect their family, a revelation that stuns their loved ones. Jack's decision to extend an olive branch to Kyle is overshadowed by the chaos Victor has unleashed. As Jack works to mend his relationship with his son, Diane's secret forces Adam Newman to make a pivotal decision that could impact his future with Sharon Newman. Audra and Amy's heated showdown. Elsewhere, sparks fly as Audra Charles confronts Amy Lewis during a Thanksgiving gathering. Audra's distrust of Amy's intentions with Nate Hastings boils over, leading to a fiery argument. Though Amy appears genuine, Audra's suspicions add tension to an already strained dynamic. This confrontation hints at deeper secrets that could unravel in the weeks ahead. Thanksgiving brings family drama. As the Newman family gathers for Thanksgiving, tensions simmer beneath the surface. Nikki Newman steps into her new role at Chancellor Enterprises, grateful for Victor's support, but her presence only amplifies the pressure on Claire to make a decision about Kyle. Across town, Sharon struggles with Nick and Maria's doubts about her innocence in the car accident involving Phyllis Summers. Nick's investigation into Sharon's missing phone adds another layer of mystery, as suspicions shift away from Sharon toward other potential culprits. Phyllis' painful reminder. Phyllis Summers battles her own demons as she begins to piece together fragments of the night she was targeted. Though she remembers seeing a car that wasn't Sharon's, Phyllis keeps her revelation to herself for now, leaving Nick to dig deeper into the truth. As Sharon pushes Adam away, the lingering question of who was behind the attack looms large. Romantic turmoil. Sally, Billy, and Phyllis. In another corner of Geno City, Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott's growing connection stirs jealousy in Adam Newman. Despite his attempts to mask his feelings, the tension is palpable, especially after Victor taunts Billy about his impulsive decisions. Showrunner Josh Griffith teases that a sizzling love triangle featuring Sally, Billy, and Phyllis will dominate the coming weeks, promising dramatic twists that keep fans on the edge of their seats. Victor's prediction. Trouble ahead. As the week concludes, Victor's dire prediction about Claire and Kyle begins to take hold. Whether Claire chooses to heed his warning or forge ahead with Kyle remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The road ahead is fraught with challenges. Will Victor's intervention save Claire from heartache, or will it drive her closer to Kyle despite the risks? Stay tuned to see how these shocking twists and emotional entanglements unfold on The Young and the Restless. With secrets, scandals, and unexpected alliances, Genoa City promises more drama than ever before. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the new ranch, Nikki walks down the stairs, smiles, and Victor admires her look. The new CEO of Chancellor Industries. Nikki gushes about building on Catherine's legacy. He asks, "Are you ready?" She is more than ready and thanks him. Victor shows Nikki the online write-up about her taking over. She's thrilled as it makes her sound pretty important. Victor says there's a lot of articles. She's the lead story. Nick, Victoria, and Claire come in with gifts to wish her luck on her first day. There's a framed photo of Nikki, Victoria, and Claire for her office from Claire, and Nick gives her an orchid. Victoria gives her a framed message, "Remember to breathe." Nikki is so excited for her new adventure. "I am just so blessed." They each hug her, and Nikki asks Claire if she'll accompany her to the office. Nikki reminds her granddaughter how well they worked together before and makes her pitch. Claire is flattered. Nikki asks, but still no. Claire says it's not no. Things are different now, and she'd be honored to accompany her to work on her first day. At Chancellor, Billy puts his belongings into a box. His phone rings. It's his mom. He declines the call. Soon after, he gets a text from Jill telling him to please stop ignoring her. She knows he's mad and asks to talk this through. Billy sighs. Opening his laptop, he video calls her. He only called her back so she could see that he's packing up his office because he was dumped, for Victor Newman no less. Jill is upset. This isn't the way she wanted it to end. Billy doesn't want to hear that this was his fault. He wants to know what got him fired. Jill had to protect the company. He left her no choice. Billy says, "Isn't choosing your family usually the right thing to do, Jill?" Jill tells Billy he's hurt her. Billy replies that it doesn't feel very good, does it? He complains that she tossed him aside when Victor turned up the heat. Jill says it's typical of him not to take responsibility. He fired Lily and hired Phyllis. Billy says Phyllis wanted to fight for the company. Jill owed it to Catherine to keep Chancellor safe and thriving. She didn't have the stamina to do it anymore. Billy snarks, "Oh, the sick card." He complains that she sandbagged him. Jill asks if he's considered how hard this decision was for her. "I wanted you to succeed." Billy argues that she set him up to fail, so they could all say he couldn't hack it. He's owned up to his past mistakes, but that's not what happened here. She lost her nerve, jumped ship, and left him high and dry. He disconnects. Just then, Nikki appears with Claire. "Billy, what are you doing here?" Billy tells Nikki he's packing up his office. He didn't expect her at the crack of dawn. She knows it's a hard day for him. Billy knows Victor is a cutthroat son of a bitch, but he expected more class out of her. Nikki says she's defended him in the past. This was a business decision. Billy says he got to give her something she wanted and screw him over in the process. Nikki confirms she wanted this very badly. Billy asks if she has any remorse for how this affected Lily. She said that while Victor led her on, it was a lie. "Are you okay with the way that happened? Or was that just business?" At the Abbott mansion, Diane tells Jack he won't believe what the lawyers found. He guesses that Glissade is a shell of a company and Victor sold off all of the divisions before handing it over to her. She gawps, "You knew about this." Jack says a contact in Europe told him he was trying to break the company up and sell it for parts. Diane asks, "Why didn't you tell me?" Jack wanted to see if he could pull it off. Diane complains that he doesn't seem very concerned about this. She's upset that Victor once again will have the last laugh. Jack isn't so sure about that. Diane senses he's got something up his sleeve. Something that will put Victor in his place once and for all. Kyle comes downstairs and says he's going to the gym since he no longer has a job. Jack tells him they have more information if he wants to hear it. It's about Glissade. Kyle asks, "What about it?" Jack says Victor signed it over to his mother. Kyle scoffs. Was this part of his mother's plan to teach him a lesson? Diane says it was. Jack asks if he learned anything at all from this. Did anything sink in? Kyle relearned that Victor's still the devil and his parents fooled everyone. Jack asks what he learned about himself. Kyle says, "I was angry. I was really, really angry. With Jack for not giving him what he thought he deserved, and with Diane for old stuff. He thought she was the one who didn't give a damn." Diane tells him he doesn't know how hard it was for her to keep it up. Jack says they knew it was the only way to tear him away from Victor. Kyle owns that. He should have known the only interest Victor would have in him was to get to his father. He was blinded by rage and realizes he never forgave Diane for leaving him when he was a kid. Diane cries that she ruined things and abandoned him. She's just so sorry that this has brought all that up for him. Kyle says, "Yeah, I guess I owe you an apology too." When they were working together, she accused him of trying to undermine her. She was right. He was, without even realizing it, trying to sabotage her. At the ranch, Victor talks to Nick and Victoria about how happy Nikki seems. Nick gets a text and says he has to go. Once alone, Victor asks his daughter if she's still upset with him about Billy Boy. She doesn't understand why she had to humiliate him like this. Victor reminds her what he's put her and the children through. Victoria's sure that her father will now be her ex-husband's obsession. A Billy Abbott with nothing to lose is a very dangerous man. At Chancellor, Nikki tells Billy she tried to get Lily to come and work with her. Billy scoffs. She offered her second in command so she'd get all the glory. Turning to Claire, he says, "It's the Newman way." Nikki's surprised he's suddenly so concerned about Lily since he fired her in the first place. Billy agrees it was stupid. He was righting that wrong when the rug was pulled out from under him. Nikki says Jill had to save Catherine's company from being tarnished. Billy says that's garbage, and under her self-righteousness, she knows he's right. He warns Claire to stay away from the Newmans other than her mom. Don't learn the hard way like I have. At Crimson Lights, Sharon looks uncomfortable as her patrons eye her up and shake their heads. Nick comes in, and she takes him to the patio to say she's notorious now. He suggests she let Esther run the place. Sharon feels she deserves this. He asks about her good news from the doctor. Sharon says the doctor changed her meds this time, and she can feel a real difference. Nick thinks that's great. This could also help your case. If it's on record that she was struggling with her medication, Michael could use that for her defense. Sharon says she's a lost cause. She thinks the insanity plea is a mistake. Nick huffs that they discussed this. She argues that he and Michael discussed this. She wants to accept the consequences of her actions. Nick says that's a life sentence. She was doing things that were out of character due to her meds. Sharon says that at the end of the day she knew what she was doing. Nick thinks there are extenuating circumstances that the judge and jury need to hear. Sharon thinks they would see through an insanity defense, and he needs to be prepared for that. Billy drops in to see Phyllis at the hospital. He guesses he was off base when he called her suspicions about Sharon a conspiracy theory. "Are you still talking to me?" Phyllis is surprised he's there. Billy says things have been crazy in his world. He asks how she's doing. She says the crash threw her for a loop. "Elena said I can go home this afternoon." Billy says that's great. They go over her being relieved the charges have been dropped against Daniel and her being right about Sharon. Phyllis asks why he's there. "You look like you lost your best friend." Billy says he lost control of Abbott Chancellor and his mother sold it to Victor. Phyllis gawps, "Oh my God, that's cold, even for Jill." Billy says he lost it all. "I've got nothing." At Chancellor, Nikki tells Claire that Billy's angry and likes to go scorched earth. Claire admits that Victoria is really torn about this takeover. She's worried about Johnny and Katie. Nikki says he's a good dad. She doesn't want to see the kids pushed in the middle of this. Claire doesn't see how they won't be. Nikki hopes they understand. She hopes this doesn't stand in the way of Claire accepting a position there. Claire asks what really happened with Lily Winters. Nikki tells Claire that Lily expected to run the company again, but the plan was to put her in charge. She was crushed when the truth came out. She explains that Victor believes she should work with her family. She wasn't happy with that. Nikki regrets how he handled things and hopes one day she'll forgive her. As for now, they've made an enemy of a woman she greatly admires. She asks Claire if she'll still consider working there with her. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle tells Diane she didn't deserve for him to make her look bad at Jebot. She says he didn't deserve for her to take the job he felt he should have had. Kyle says his dad must have seen something in her that he couldn't. Jack thinks he could have handled it better. Diane wants to move forward. Kyle wants that as well, but isn't sure how right now. He walks out. At Crimson Lights, Sharon warns Nick that her going away will be devastating for Faith. Nick gives her his word he'll be there to help launch her into the world. Sharon doesn't know what she'd do without his strength and support. She wonders why he doesn't hate her. Nick has known her most of his life. He cares about her and won't abandon her ever. In the hospital, Phyllis tells Billy she's so sorry. She'd be sorrier if he hadn't already thrown her under the bus. Billy needed to buy time. He doesn't want to talk about Jill anymore. "I'm done there." Victor, on the other hand, needs a taste of his own medicine. Phyllis jokes that she'll forward his mail to the cemetery. Billy says she hates him just as much as he does. He's thinking that when she gets out of there, they should team up and bring Victor down together. Next on The Young and the Restless, Victor warns Claire about Kyle, Jack, and Diane make a confession about their deception, and Nate opens his home to Amy. Summer Newman's inner battle. Summer Newman is facing one of the most difficult times of her life. Phyllis Summers, her strong mother and rock, is fighting every day in the hospital. The pain and helplessness of seeing her mother lying motionless on a hospital bed has left Summer physically and mentally exhausted. In her search for comfort, she can't help but think of Kyle, who was once her rock in times of weakness. Although they're no longer a couple, the deep bond between Summer and Kyle has never truly faded. The accidental glances and thoughtful moments when they stand close to each other all prove that love still sparkles, waiting for a chance to ignite again. Kyle's dilemma. Kyle Abbott, a man who has always been torn between duty and emotion, is now facing a dilemma. He has built a hopeful relationship with Claire Grace, a woman who brings peace and maturity to his otherwise chaotic life. Claire is not only a new companion, but also a bright spot Kyle feels he can trust. However, when Summer appears in her weakest moment, things begin to get complicated. Kyle can't ignore Summer's pain. During one meeting, he saw her sitting quietly in the corner of a familiar coffee shop, her eyes tired, her thin shoulders trembling. Without hesitation, Kyle approached, placing a warm hand on her shoulder. Summer's tear-filled eyes looked up, fragile with hope. Even though he knew he shouldn't, Kyle couldn't help but care about Summer. He invited her home, made her a cup of hot tea, and sat quietly listening as she poured out her heart. That night, they shared a bed, not out of passion, but for the comfort of someone who used to mean the world to them. Claire's realization. Things didn't stop there. The short meetings began to last longer, and every time Kyle saw Summer in pain, he felt his heart being torn apart. Claire, Kyle's current lover, sensed the growing distance between them. But she's not the type of woman who fights to hold on to a man unsure of his feelings. Claire, with her gentle beauty and strong soul, wins Kyle over with her calm and sincere demeanor. But as Kyle spends more time with Summer, Claire is forced to face the truth. Their relationship may not be strong enough to withstand the storm called the past. Although Claire loves Kyle, she doesn't want to be the woman who holds on to someone who's no longer completely hers. She begins to question whether Kyle's feelings for her are strong enough to overcome Summer's shadow. Kyle's impossible choice. Everyone in Genoa City can sense something is going on between Summer and Kyle. Although Kyle tries to keep his distance, he ultimately can't help but be drawn back into his emotional connection with Summer. Their love is like a smoldering fire, extinguished several times but always ready to flare up again. But is Kyle willing to give up a stable future with Claire to return to Summer, who has brought him both happiness and pain? Or will he take the easy way out, stay his comfort zone with Claire, and let the past fade into oblivion? Life is rarely simple, and love even less so. Kyle must make his decision. But perhaps what he really needs isn't to choose between Claire and Summer, but to find himself again. Whatever he decides, one thing is certain. The relationship between Summer and Kyle will never truly end. They are destined for each other, but whether they are willing to overcome all obstacles to be together is another story. Kyle cannot deny that the love between him and Summer is something beyond reason. They are not only lovers, but also two perfect pieces of each other. However, he cannot overlook the peace Claire has brought to his life. Kyle faces a turning point: return to his destined love, or continue with a stable relationship. A tangled web of love and betrayal. The Summer, Kyle, and CLA saga. Genoa City has always been a hub of high drama, tangled relationships, and shocking revelations. However, the latest twist in the love triangle involving Summer Newman, Kyle Abbott, and CLA Simpson threatens to upend not just their lives, but also the fragile peace within their families. Summer's decision to end things with Chance. Summer Newman, known for her strong convictions, recently left everyone shocked by ending her relationship with Chance Chancellor, a stable and loving partner. While Summer kept her reasons private, her heart had already started pulling her back to Kyle Abbott, her ex-husband and the father of the child she carried. Though Summer tried to move on, her lingering feelings for Kyle never fully faded. The discovery of her pregnancy only amplified her longing for a family with him, even though Kyle had found stability and joy in his relationship with CLA Simpson. Phyllis's advice, a mother's push. Phyllis Summers, always protective and calculating, saw an opportunity in her daughter's predicament. To Phyllis, Kyle and Summer were meant to be together, and CLA was merely a temporary distraction. Summer, Phyllis began, her voice tinged with concern and persuasion, Kyle loves you. You two were always the perfect couple, and you're carrying his child. If there's a chance to make things right, you need to take it, for your sake and your baby's. Phyllis's words sparked determination in Summer, leading her to confront CLA, not with malice, but with desperation. She believed her pregnancy would be enough to convince CLA to step aside. The confrontation, Summer's plea. Summer showed up at CLA's apartment unannounced, emotions bubbling beneath the surface. When CLA opened the door, her surprise quickly turned to apprehension. CLA, I need to talk to you, Summer said, her voice trembling. Please, it's important. CLA hesitated but allowed her in. The tension between the two women was palpable. I didn't want to come here like this, Summer began, tears streaming down her face. But I have no choice. I'm pregnant, CLA. It's Kyle's baby. CLA's eyes widened in shock, her mind racing. Before she could respond, Summer continued, I know this is a mess, and I've made mistakes, but I can't let my child grow up without a family. Kyle and I, we belong together. Please, CLA, I'm begging you, let him go so we can be a family. CLA's reaction, a battle of emotions. CLA was stunned. While she knew Kyle and Summer shared a complicated past, this revelation was a gut punch. Torn between anger, disbelief, and betrayal, she struggled to process Summer's words. You expect me to just walk away? CLA asked, her voice steady but filled with pain. After everything Kyle and I have built together, you want me to throw it all away because of your mistakes. Summer's tears flowed freely. I know it's unfair, but I don't know what else to do. I can't let my baby be born into a broken family. CLA shook her head, anger taking over. You're not thinking about anyone but yourself, Summer. You're using your child as leverage. That's not love, it's manipulation. Before more could be said, CLA revealed a chilling possibility. Summer, CLA said, her voice trembling. What if I told you that I might be pregnant too? CLA's secret. Another baby on the way. Unbeknownst to Summer, CLA had recently discovered she might also be pregnant. She hadn't told Kyle yet, unsure how to navigate the situation. Now, faced with Summer's revelation, CLA knew a decision was unavoidable. You're asking me to give up my happiness for yours, CLA continued. What about my child, Summer? What about me? Kyle caught in the middle. Meanwhile, Kyle was blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. His charm and playful nature often masked his avoidance of difficult conversations, but this was one he couldn't escape. When Kyle learned the truth, he was faced with an impossible choice. Both women carried his child. Both women claimed to love him. Choosing one meant devastating the other. I never wanted this, Kyle confessed to his father, Jack, during a rare vulnerable moment. I don't know what to do. Jack, ever the voice of reason, placed a hand on Kyle's shoulder. You need to be honest, Kyle, with yourself, with Summer, and with CLA. This isn't just about you anymore, it's about your children. Victor's intervention, protecting CLA. Victor Newman, CLA's protective ally, was wary of Kyle from the start. When he learned of Summer's interference, Victor decided to step in. CLA, you don't have to deal with this alone, Victor said firmly. Kyle isn't worth the pain he's causing. If you want out, I'll make sure you and your child are taken care of. Though tempted by Victor's support, CLA couldn't ignore the love she still felt for Kyle, leaving her heart and mind at war. The ultimate question: sacrifice or reconciliation? As emotions reached a breaking point, the question loomed: who would sacrifice their happiness for the others? Would Summer step back, allowing Kyle and CLA to continue their relationship? Would CLA walk away, giving Kyle and Summer a chance to reunite for their child's sake? Or would Kyle, torn between two women and two children, find a way to reconcile the pieces of his fractured life? The drama promises to push emotions to the edge, leaving fans eagerly awaiting the next twist in this tangled love story.